Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Restoring Hope with Crosswinds Counseling. I'm your host, Curtis Smith. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. And as always, a huge thanks to our community partners who make it possible for us to be here. Tesco, Prime 47 downtown, and Shepherd Community Center. Without them, we would not be here every Thursday night at 9:30 on WHMB TV 40. And as always, we have a great show for you tonight, but tonight is unique. This is our final show. And tonight we have two tremendous guests who have been central to the production of our show. First up is Rob Eicher, the Vice President of Crosswinds Counseling. Rob, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
We have spent several segments of our show over the past months with you, and we're here one more time on our final night together here, final Thursday night of 2022, just days away from 2023. And Crosswinds Counseling stands on the precipice of some really big, exciting things as we move into 23. Tell us a little bit about what's coming up for Crosswinds.
So 2023 is going to be a big year. January is going to be a big month. We are opening 2 more counseling centers, one on the south side of Indy, and the other one we're going to be opening in South Bend, Indiana.
And this pairs with the fact there's already a North Indy office. The office in Dayton opened back in November.
Correct.
And so Crosswinds has gone through tremendous growth already here in 22. I suspect that you think even more growth is coming in 23 and beyond.
Definitely. Yeah, God is moving. He is bringing Christian therapists that want to integrate their faith with their therapy. And He's bringing in people to our counselors that really need hope and really need help.
I think historically, we talk about stigma all the time in terms of people getting mental health services and talking about it, but I think one of the stigmas that has existed in the past is this idea that a Christian counseling service or a Christian counselor may not be that skilled, may not be trained in everything they should be because they're just too focused on the Bible and too focused on prayer as the solution. But Crosswinds has Christian counselors who are well-versed in evidence-based practices, who have all their licenses and credentials. You're getting Christians, but you're getting top-notch counselors too.
That is correct. We only hire the best, and they have to be the best and top of their fields clinically, but then they also need to have an active walk with God. That's kind of the filter that we put people through.
And that's a pretty narrow focus. I mean, across America, there aren't all that many people who fill both of those buckets.
Right. If you could see the spreadsheet of people that I've interviewed and haven't hired, you would be amazed. And that's okay. And it's paying off. We do a survey of all of our clients who have received counseling. And in the industry, if you score a 40 or above, it's considered excellent. The last 3 months in a row, we have scored 100, and we've never scored lower than an 80 since I've been here. I joined in March. So it's off the charts. Our clients that are getting counseling, it's making a difference in their life, and they're satisfied.
40 would be industry leading. It's hard to overstate this. 40 would be industry leading. 100 is unthinkable. I mean, there are organizations out there that would... they just can't even fathom that kind of success. Why do you think Crosswinds has moved to such a positive result from the people that they're helping?
I really think it's because of our therapists. Our therapists are there because they care about helping people. They want to see their clients get victory, whatever it is they're wrestling with. And our clients come from all different backgrounds. We have Muslim clients, we have Hindu clients. Not all of our clients are from the church, but they're coming because they're stuck in some area of their life and they need help.
Because of that, so you have Christian counselors, but it's not like they hit people over the head with the Bible.
Correct.
It's not, the faith of Crosswinds counselors is not such that it condemns people. It causes them to love people, to be open and receptive and welcoming to people.
Right. We're helping them find hope. We're helping them find light.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's exciting to be a part of it.
And even though this spreadsheet of yours must be filled with names that haven't checked both boxes, You are getting more men and women to join the organization, and you have more counselors now than you ever have, in more locations than you ever have. Technology helps. Can people get and have successful counseling experiences through technology too?
Yes, about 32% of our counseling is online. And that's because we have people all over the state of Ohio, all over the state of Indiana that want counseling, but they may not live close enough to where one of our offices is yet. So they can have online counseling.
And real quick, Rob, tell us about the corporate counseling. A lot of organizations doing what is essentially an EAP. It
is an EAP. EAP stands for Employee Assistance Program, and it's something that employers put in place to help their employees. So if any of their employees or any of the members of the employee's family wants counseling, the employer pays for 5 to 10 sessions for that individual. It's a tax write-off for the corporation. But most importantly, it helps their employees be healthy, which makes them better employees. It keeps them at work more often, and it helps the company's retention as well.
Rob,
fun fact.
Yeah.
Fun fact, for people between the ages of 30 and down to 20 years old right now, one of the top 3 things they look for in an employer is, does that employer offer any employee assistance with mental health?
Wow.
So the corporations we're working with, it's about 65 right now.
So it matters to the workforce, it matters to the people entering the workforce, those young workers that we all need.
Right. Yeah, everybody's hiring right now.
Yep.
And if you have this in place, it will help you draw the right kind of employees.
Rob, thanks so much for being here. Thanks so much for leading Crosswinds. Thanks for your investment into this show, and all the best in 23.
Thanks, Curtis.
We'll be right back. Welcome back to Restoring Hope. I'm Curtis Smith. Well, it's time for our final guest on our final show, and there was only one option for this spot, and that is Mark Bowell. Mark, good to see you.
Curtis, good to be back.
Yeah, you've been a guest with us before, and you are the only person to ever sit in this chair besides me and turn the tables on me.
That's correct. Somebody had to do it. So.
And you were the only one I was going to allow to do that. Mark, you, of course, have been a partner with Crosswinds Counseling. You're with Tesco. You've been not just one of our partners in a traditional sense, you've been one of the driving forces behind this show. So we're extremely grateful for you and lining up all of the guests. As we close this run of the show, these last 14, 15 months, what are you struck by when you think back over the 60 plus shows that we did? What do you think about?
Well, that's a great question. You know, it has been such a broad, just a broad spectrum of thought and of character. Of folks that we've brought in, folks that have demonstrated extraordinary commitment to the mental health field, amazing stories.
Yeah.
But a common thread through all of it is that we all need to be aware of the importance of mental health, the impact that it has on families, the impact that it has on the workplace, the impact that it has on our society in general. And I think that common thread. And one of the things I guess I've tried to do is to kind of keep it lively, bring different types of characters. I don't care if guys playing bagpipes,
right?
Or talking about our electric vehicle, integration business.
We've been all over the map,
yeah,
with some really interesting people,
yeah,
and hopefully fun shows for you, the viewer out there. Mark really has been the one orchestrating so much of the content behind the scenes. Mark, as you step into this next season of your life, I know you're really passionate about investing into leaders, especially, and through this lens of the importance of mental health. Tell me about this new initiative that you're getting off the ground.
Well, there's naturally when you're a point person, when you're out on point, you've been there. You're there, whether leading the church board or an organization, all those places. Many people will say being the point person is a pretty lonely place to be.
It can be.
And in today's day and age, when we think about what we've come through COVID, and societally, we were in a broken spot before we got to COVID.
Right.
Right? I mean, to be real with it. But what's happened now in terms of leaders and the level of stress, the level of what I would call hopelessness in many respects, because again, you have to have all the answers. and sometimes you just don't.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just get to the end of the candle. You know, the wick just burns out. So our goal, I'm working with Dan Johnson with the New Day Center, who's a partner with Crosswinds,
Right.
and a great friend of mine, about creating a group that we would call the Leadership Renewal Forum. And it's a forum. It's a place to come together to talk, to look at what's going on in life. It's not an AA group type thing, but it's more evolving into really just being able to be in a secure place where there's common challenges, where there's common, what I would consider in many respects, pain.
There are so many hurdles there historically with leaders. The people who have risen to the top aren't used to leaning on others, aren't used to being vulnerable all the time. A lot of people in these positions are men. Historically, men don't do as well sharing these kind of things. Are you hopeful, though, that through the forum you can clear some of those hurdles and you can make a better path here for a lot of folks?
Well, that's the hope. And you know, in particular now, the stress level that's being brought upon women who are leaders now in business. Because again, traditionally, the model, and many folks say, well, you know, the woman is still, I mean, they're still having the baby. They're still carrying at that initial level, but the level of responsibility and stress because of more women in the workplace and women leaders.
Yeah.
So it's a mixture. You're right, the stigma's tougher for men. Emotionally, it's tougher for us to raise our hand and say, hey, I'm broken.
Yeah.
But what that looks like, we're excited to see where it goes, to see how God leads it. I'm passionate about it. You know, I'm so proud of the great work that Crosswinds is doing here in Central Indiana. You know, the fact that Rob's talked about the new office down on the south side.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. And, you know, the most important thing is it's great people that are bringing hope. And that's what I think through 62 shows.
Right.
I mean, I hope that a level of hope every Thursday night, someone's been touched in a new and a special way, to know that there is hope beyond the crisis of the moment, and we know that hope is in Christ.
Absolutely. And we do hope that these Thursday nights for the last 15 months or so, these last 62 shows, that we have helped to bring you a little hope. Mark, what else is coming up in your life? I know you are one of those guys. I think you might know every person in Indianapolis.
I don't know if I know everybody, so.
It's really close, if not. What else do you have on your busy schedule? You've got a lot going on with Tesco, the Leadership Forum. What else are you looking forward to in 23? Because we're just a couple of days away from a new year.
Well, I turned 60 in January, so part of that is really looking at life and just really trying to find a good pace and a good tempo and being balanced. But, you know, I serve on the Central Indiana Leadership Board for the American Heart Association. We have our Blake Strong charity that honors the courageous life of my son, so we support a lot in the area of cancer, brain cancer research and supporting families that are in that space, and then just really looking to see what's next. I mean, part of it right now is recognizing that a chapter in the book has now turned, the page has turned, and I look at the work that I was able to do in helping Crosswinds and Lifeline grow. Here, as I say, I leave in peace, but it's time to go move into another phase. So we'll see where that moves, and we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, I say thank you every time we're done with an interview to whoever the guest is, but I've never meant it more than I mean it right now. Mark, thank you so much for all that you did for restoring hope and all that you're doing for Indianapolis.
Thank you, Curtis. And right back at you. Thanks.
We'll be right back. Welcome back. As we always have, we carve out a few minutes to talk about the word that we've always tried to focus on and keep at the center of our show, hope. Tonight, in the Beacon of Hope segment, Gordon Haynes is still in a Christmas frame of mind, and he reminds us of the eternal hope we find in the Christmas story, even as we come out of the holidays.
Hi, my name is Gordon Haynes, and I'm part of the Crosswinds executive team. Today I want to talk to you about hope, and because it's December and we're nearing Christmas time, I want to tie the Christmas story to hope. I don't know how many of you know this about the Bible, but in between the Old Testament and the New Testament, there was this period called the intertestamental period that lasted for about 400 years. And during that time frame, The nation of Israel, the Jewish nation, really believed that God was silent. He didn't have any prophets, there weren't any judges, there weren't any signs. They were really struggling to believe that he was even there. And they believed God was absent and not doing anything. And nothing could be further from the truth. During that same 400-year time period, Alexander the Great conquered the known world in just 12 years. That included conquering Greece. So he spread the Greek influence throughout the known world, which gave people a common language. Everyone spoke a little bit of Greek. Even more than that, the Greeks translated the Hebrew Old Testament, those documents, into Greek, the language of Greek, so now everyone could access those and read those. Then the Greeks were conquered by the Romans, and they were very oppressive, and they spread the Hebrew nation throughout the known world because they were trying to escape the oppression of Rome and live a better life. So now think of it this way. We now have a common language. We have known writings that talk about the promise of a Messiah, and we have Hebrews everywhere to share that story. In addition to that, in that 400-year time frame, it was the first time in known history that there were 200 years of world peace. So roads were built, travel became easy, protections were put in place so that people could travel from place to place. So when Jesus was born, he was born into a world that had a common language, a common understanding of the promise of the Messiah coming, and the ability to travel and spread that word after his crucifixion, and his disciples were able to travel everywhere and spread the story. Think of all those implications. God's timing, as always, was perfect, and he wasn't silent. He was making all the preparations. That gives me hope because I know in my life, when I'm waiting for something, I can trust that God has the right plan. He's putting all the right pieces in place, and on his timing, the perfect things are going to happen. And though we may struggle, knowing that his timing is always perfect gives me great hope. Have a great day.
Welcome back. At the heart of our show, since its inception more than a year ago, has been counseling and our wonderful counselors. Tonight, in our final Counseling Corner segment, Jennifer Bassinger, one of our newest counselors, joins us to talk about counseling and how unique the experience can be for every single person.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Bassinger, and I'm a therapist at Crosswinds. Something that I'm really passionate about as a therapist is making sure that all of my clients have their own unique experience with counseling. I believe that everybody is their own individual, unique person, and because of that, they should be treated as such in their counseling sessions. People may come with similar struggles, but that doesn't mean that their sessions should be mirrors of each other. I believe that every person was created with their own specific purpose, their own unique personality, and their own genetic makeup. And because of that, I feel like they should be seen and valued for exactly who they are. And I think that our counseling sessions should reflect that individuality. Counseling is really hard work, and it takes a lot of courage to show up, and it takes even more vulnerability to continue to push through those struggles and continue talking to somebody about those things. It's so important to me that all of my clients leave their sessions feeling heard and validated and supported, because that's what you came here for. And if you don't feel heard and validated and supported, then what's the point? You know, these are things that we go through sometimes in our lives, and we need that extra support, and that's what I want to provide. I want my clients to know how much I care about them, and I want them to know that it's not one size fits all. It is a deeply individual process, and because of that, our plans should be tailored to reflect that. I think that every client that comes in should feel like they have a therapist who has specifically carved out a plan for them to help them meet their needs, not to meet the needs of them and everyone else, but them specifically, because who you are matters, and we are all unique individuals, and we deserve to have that reflected in our caring of ourselves. I strive to have all my clients leave their sessions knowing that I was listening to them and that I care about them and that I want them to improve their lives, whatever that may look like for them. So if you would like to meet with me or another therapist to develop your individual plan, please visit us at crosswindscounseling.org.
Thanks, Gordon. Great reminder tonight. Well, over the last 14, 15 months here on Restoring Hope, we have highlighted the need for amazing counselors in our world where mental health services have never been more needed. Crosswinds Counseling needs great women and men to join the organization and help us provide help to many people. So many people need it. If you're interested in pursuing a career at Crosswinds, you can visit crosswindscounseling.org/careers. We have opportunities in Indianapolis, Fort Wayne, and Dayton, Ohio, and as Rob mentioned earlier, coming soon to South Bend. For more than a year, we've been with you every Thursday night, and that takes a lot of hard work by many great people. To our sponsors, Tesco, Prime 47 Downtown, and Shepherd Community Center, we literally couldn't have done this without you. And we can't thank you enough for making it possible for us to be here each and every week. Among the many people who help produce the show and drive the content every week, there are two I have to single out by name. The first is Mark Bowell. He was just with us a few minutes ago. We spent time with him earlier, and Mark has been a driving force for the show, and without his hard work, we simply would not have a show without Mark. And the other is Sarah Price. The marketing team of Jeannie and Trey, Melinda and Sarah each played a huge role in the creation of Restoring Hope, but Sarah stands out. She has been behind the camera for every Beacon of Hope and Counseling Corner segment, and in fact, tonight she is sitting behind the camera as she does for every show, making sure we stay on time and on task and that everything is running smoothly. She's sitting off to my right tonight, right now, and this is the part I knew that I would get a little bit emotional about. Sarah, I'm extremely thankful for you and your work on this show, so thank you so much. And finally, thanks to all of you, our viewers. We deeply appreciate you tuning in every Thursday night, giving up 30 minutes of your week. And we pray that this show has touched you and enlightened you and helped you. And we hope and pray that you have a wonderful new year, a lovely 2023. We wish you all of God's blessings in the future. Thank you for being with us. Stay safe and be blessed. Good night, everybody.